Good evening, everybody. So, sorry, just had a message come through from our guest. I am so excited to have her here. What are we doing tonight? We're gonna go ahead and talk about Sabrina Oxford.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey everybody, so I'm gonna check to see who is here. We have people. Say hello if you are here, that would be great. Go ahead and give a thumbs up if you are super excited for the next holiday coming up, Thanksgiving. So much to be thankful for. And we have our guest here. I'm gonna go ahead and bring her in. Drop a comment though, say hello. Yes, give a couple hearts, a couple thumbs up. That would be wonderful. Sabrina, I see you, friend. Hello, Ronald. We're gonna add. There we go, we have a split screen. We're joining.
Yes!
Yay. Hello, my beautiful friend.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Hi, Amber. Thanks for having me here today.
Yes, happy day. Boy, my house was quiet 10 minutes ago, and now we are having some technical dips, but that's okay. The show will go on.
We'll go on. Share. Happening now, folks. We are live with Amber and Sabrina.
Then you're gonna do like a dual mirror kind of thing? Is that what you're thinking?
I gave up the cracked phone. See the cracks?
Oh, Victor is here. Hello, Victor. I don't know you. I know that Sabrina does.
Hello, Victor.
Yes. Oh, and Lenore is here. She said that So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get this thing started, and then we can always share it to your group. We can share the recording. You have full access to all of the content that is created.
Okay, let me do a quick shout out to Victor. Victor, to give you some knowledge on him, was the first person that had me on their podcast through Jennifer Dawn, a mutual friend. And so, Chris and Jen, the superconductors, say start before you're ready, and got me to at least try to be on camera, and Victor gave me my chance. And we were going to do a short show. Oh boy, that's a tongue twister. A short show. And we ended up going for like an hour and 45 minutes. So Victor, let's do a shout out to Victor for having me on there and giving my first step up. And Amber's giving me my fourth step up. My fourth step up, Amber.
Yes, I will be in contact with Victor because I want to have his link listed into it so that way people have more of a background on you, because there is so much to go over that we could be here for 3 hours. Seriously, just
Right.
your background and what you've been through. So, so Victor, we'll be in touch later to go ahead and get that link. But yes, so tonight we are here with Sabrina. We met in Jen and Chris' group called Ready for TV, or it was something like that, or Be Seen on TV. It was a boot camp. It was a lot of fun, and we hit it off. She messaged me, and I just really liked her energy. She liked my energy, and that's how we kind of came about, and that's how our friend formed. And over 3 weeks of knowing each other, we are. Hold on, one quick.
It's okay. Every single one of us has either babysat or had our own children. We get that. I have 15 nieces and nephews, plus some grandniece and nephews, and have babysat my sister's 4 children when I first got out of high school for 2 years while she went through a divorce. So we all know children, and we love them. Don't ever feel bad that you need to take care of your child and he needs your attention.
Perfect. I love it. Somebody's laughing. I love it. So
we all get it.
Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and jump in. Okay, so a little bit of your background. I know that you have lived in 9 different homes and you went to 12 different high schools. You've been in the foster care system. I was hoping that we could start at chapter 1. Like, how did you end up in the system at such a young age?
Okay, so, wow, very tough question on the first one. That's okay. I know that, just to give some history, I do know that when I was first born, there was some time under the age of 5 that I was spent in foster care that I was too young to remember about, and eventually did go back to my birth mom. At 10, now I know my brother does not like me talking about this story. It's in the past. I forgive him, just so everybody knows, but just for some knowledge of what had happened. But he had shot me. He had used a BB gun, so at least that was the only gun available, thankfully. It went into my wrist. I still have the scar today. he told the doctor that I was too nice. I would never survive in the world. Do me a favor. When I was 16, I ran into him, and the very first words out of his mouth was, "I really apologize, and I'm a Christian girl. No harm, no foul. I'm still alive." So I forgave him because he's my brother, and he did. You could tell when someone apologizes and means it, and when someone doesn't. But they were the first words out of not seeing me for 6 years because I was in foster care.
Definitely sincere then and from the heart. Yeah.
Right. So just for anyone listening, my brother and I, we have a great relationship to this day. It was a horrible event done for a 17-year-old being foolish, doing a foolish thing. And I just happened to get in the way with it, which costed me the next 8 years in foster care, which went to 12 different homes, which weren't all homes. Some of them were orphanages. Ironically, because even though my birth mom is alive, she had given me up for adoption at 11, and that's her story to tell as to why she gave me up. But she had children, and I wasn't the wanted child. I was the last. As a result of that's a story for her to tell. I can't tell. Just say
that's okay.
She gave me up for adoption. And that was at 11. So that foster care moment when I first went in there at 10, they don't explain anything to you no matter what age you are. They automatically assume you're a child, you won't understand, and are not willing to give the child in the foster care system a chance to tell them. Like, children don't understand going to Grandpa's funeral, but you still bring the child to Grandpa's funeral. You do still take the time to explain Grandpa's passed away, he's gone to heaven, he's gone to wherever you believe he's gone, according to your faith system out there. I choose heaven, but whatever you got going for you, hope it works. And, so I think that it would be crucial for the foster care system to start implementing the knowledge to kids about why they are being removed from the house, why they are going into another person's home, why someone else is going to take care of the responsibility, and not make an assumption because you're 7 or you're 10 or you're 14, you don't get it. And you're stuck in that system until 16 years of age before you have any say. You have no say about what you want or where you want to go or anything until you turn 16. And that's when the court system will feel you are old enough to speak up for yourself. So you're just trapped going through home after home after home. And please understand that anytime you go from one home to another home, there was a situation that needed to be investigated. Either you got turned in for neglect, you got turned in for physical abuse, you got turned in for sexual abuse, or some other psychological issues that are going on in the house. But rarely, and every once in a while it is because it's just not a good fit with the kid. It's just having so many emotional complications because no one's taken the time to explain to the kid what is happening to the kid. So there are those where you do leave because of that. But if you've gone to 3 or more homes, that child got removed from an abusive home, put into the foster care system that was supposed to protect them, and then got put into another abusive home. So it did not protect. They would have been better off just staying at home dealing with their own family, is what I'm saying.
That's crazy. That's crazy. When they take a child from a bad situation, try to make it better. And like your story with so many trials, so many tribulations to go along with your history, that like they tried to make it better, but they kept on, you just ended up like in the worst of the worst.
I did. Statistically speaking, I shouldn't be here, but I seem to be on the statistics of if that's not going to happen, it's going to happen to me. I think that I'm on that end of the road. Lucky me, huh? You gotta have a good sense of humor about it, because what people on the show don't understand that Amber knows, and she might want to get into asking me later or whatnot, but like she said, it could be 3 hours, but I've had a stalker, I've been held captive, I've been shot, I've had 4 different people try to murder me. One was a family member, and what has brought me through it is I've always had a faith system. I read the book of Job in the Bible and realized that the enemy, however people want to word that in the world, that negative energy out there that tries to take a person down, it's not allowed to kill you. And as a person who's died 4 times and come back, once from poison, on a school field trip at 7, at 16 was medication from the doctor. I was allergic to it. At 19, I gave plasma and found out that I'm hypoglycemic the hard way. So I can never give plasma again to anybody for any reason ever.
Oh my goodness.
Right. And then at 42, when I had a heart attack, at a church funeral lunch for one of my friends.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That insane. You got to have a sense of humor about it because it's just a comedy show.
I love your sense of humor about it because, like, I've heard your stories and I go to bed trouble. Like, we talk and, like, we message late at night and I go to bed trouble. And here she is just, like, cracking jokes. I love it. So, okay. Well, what kept you going and what kept you strong? And, like, do you remember, like, a part of your history and being like, God was in that? Like, I know that I couldn't have gotten through that unless God...
365 days a year, my whole life. Popping out at birth praying. To be perfectly honest, I do come from a family that does not have a very faith upbringing. They were not churchgoers. My friend Rachel, when I was around 6, 7 years old, invited me to go to church. What I knew at church was I got Kool-Aid, I got cookies, I got hugs, I got smiles. Nobody yelled at me, nobody screamed at me, nobody was hitting me. It was a pleasant experience for me. So I started sneaking out on Sundays to go to church. So I really just, and don't get me wrong, we were not a church family. I got severely punished for sneaking out and going to church because we were not going to go to church. We were not going to be a church family. She was not going to have a Christian in her home. This was not happening. And yet every Sunday, no matter how much I got spanked and put in that corner, I would sneak out of my bedroom window, run over to Rachel's house, go to church, then run over to Wendy's house, read a book, go home and say, I was at Wendy's house.
That's awesome. Okay, so then how old were you? And then, like, what? I don't want to date you, but, like, what year was that? Because, like, I was growing up in the 90s and yeah.
So I was born in 1970. Anybody can do the math. I'm 52. It's okay. I look decent for 52. I'm not beautiful. Yeah. I look all right. We're good. Just a couple gray hairs. We're good. But what was your question again?
My question was. Sorry, all of a sudden it got really loud in here. My question was, what age were you when you started sneaking off to church? I missed that part.
Oh, that was around 6, 7 years old when Rachel had invited me. I can't remember if I was 6 or if I was 7. So 1976, 1977, that area. I had a lot of things happen to me those 2 years of my life, and that's all I remember was telling my brother, the one that had shot me, all these things that had happened in these 2 years when I hadn't seen him because I don't know where he was. I don't even remember. He was in like group homes or things like that for misbehaving. And he goes, you had a lot of things happen to you. I said, I know. But so, I mean, I think that I just always had that faith system because I always went to church. And it was always in me. Like, I was clearly born into a non-faith family. And yet I came out so faithfully strong that when I was 16 and did have a voice in the court system, I requested a minister to be my foster parents. So, and that's how I ended up with a Baptist minister as my foster dad.
Which I love the ending of that story, and I want to save that towards the end because I absolutely love how this comes around full circle. So I'm excited. I want to save that. So then you have been to, how many schools was it that you were in? Was it 9 or was it 12?
I was in 12 placements, 9 schools.
Okay, so you're in 12 schools and 9 different homes.
The other way around. I was in 12 placements, 9 schools. 9 schools. From 10 to 18.
Oh my goodness. That's like a school every single year. That's crazy. Thank you, Lenore, because my kids are really loud, but maybe they're not. So then I know that you were on the B honor roll. So how in the world did you keep up on the B honor roll while you went to 9 different schools? And then you were also in homes and all the process.
There is both a downside to having a hard upbringing. Obviously, you feel sad about it and blame everybody for your problems. But there's an upside to it if you choose to look at things from a scientific viewpoint. And I've always been scientifically minded, in the sense that I observe things. I like to observe. I like to watch what things are going on in front of me. And mainly as a coping skill from moving from foster home to foster home and going through the, hard upbringing, which, thankfully laws have changed, so there's not that extreme abuse going on everywhere as much as it was anyways. I mean, it still goes on, don't get me wrong. But refocus me.
That's okay. So how are you able to go ahead and stay on the Beyond?
So moving through all those schools and going through an observatory manner, I had to hang around the adults. So I was always hanging around the teacher. I didn't have time for kids my own age because all of their problems were trivial to me. It was like, you're mad at your best friend because she wore the same color shirt as you on Tuesday. All right, I'm hiding under my floorboards to avoid getting beaten, because that's how badly we were beaten. And you're upset at your best friend. So I just couldn't relate to anybody in my age group at all, ever, because I had such experiences that put me in such an adult mind frame that I could only communicate with the adult. So I hung around all the teachers all the time. My Spanish teacher was my favorite teacher. Oh shoot, we went bowling together. We've been to the Dairy Queen together,
Okay.
And you might be called brown nose and whatnot, but you're just never going to be at that school very long.
That's crazy.
So
that, you already knew that at such a young age that none of this is gonna matter. Whatever I do for myself at this age to help set myself up is gonna matter, but all the small stuff doesn't matter. So it's crazy to me that you already saw the bigger picture.
Yeah, I really had a greater understanding of things at such a young age that I do not think that I would not have had if I didn't have such a division. I had a church life that I snuck off to, and a home life that I had to be a part of that was abusive. And they were two separate energy, two different frequencies, as you would say, positive energy and negative energy. Now, granted, that family that I was born into, we've now turned into loving members and we care about each other and it's all different and, it's all water under the bridge. But when you grow up to that, through that, and you have a faith system that knows that, listen, this isn't going to kill you. It's just not like this, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. That is not what I'm saying. But when you have the knowledge that I have the flu, but I had the flu before, the flu goes away. So you don't have to be worried about having the flu. You don't have to be worried about not getting things done because you had the flu. You can enjoy the time and be like, great, I don't have to do that because I have the flu. I finally have an excuse to not do something,
Right?
So I think it just gives you a different understanding. And like I said, I'm not sure I would have been as focused on my life had I not snuck off to church. I mean, I'm not saying that's the answer for everybody because everybody gets something different out of it, but I wanted to be an active, involved member. I wanted to be a part of it. It was more than going there to hear about how we should behave according to what God wants us to behave. This was a real church family. And then when I became a foster daughter of an actual pastor, it really was the church family. So then you have a total different viewpoint, and I needed to make sure that I knew nobody was going to educate me unless I did it. Nobody was going to learn it for me unless I did it, and I didn't know what I had to learn, why I had to learn it, but I knew that if I didn't take the time to learn it now, it wasn't going to get learned, and I could get moved tomorrow and not know, because they don't tell you you're getting moved. Hey, we're coming to get you next month. Say goodbye to your friends. Have a going away party. No. They come, they pick you up and say, you're moving today, now. That's what they do.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't. So okay.
Right, so that puts in that you have to move. You have to go forward.
Yes.
And if you don't have that go forward, or you don't catch that bus, or what Jen would say, if you don't catch your unicorn and get on it right away, it goes away. Well, yeah, that's what you have to be prepared to go, and that just puts you in a different mind frame. Now, most people in the foster care system don't excel like that.
No.
They start to turn inward and get depressed and sad and have higher suicide rates, especially getting closer to emancipation date. when they know that they're too old for the system and they have no clue because they're not prepared to go out into the world because they spent so much time trying to either focus on their studies or focus on just survival, and they're stuck in survival mode.
Right, exactly. So that brings me to 2 points. I don't know which way we want to go with this. So I really want to know why you chose this book, but I also really want to bring up the topic of being moved from house to house and what that looked like and what can the general public do to help with that situation. And then also Christmas is around the corner. So I think I want to go down that avenue first, and then we're going to circle back. So because I think right now is a really good point in the story to let the public know there are some things that you guys can do, even if you know nothing about the system. When I met Sabrina, I knew, Lenore, if you want to go ahead and answer that one question, what is the name of the book?
The name of the book is called 100 Facebook Faces. It's on Amazon, Lulu, Barnes & Noble. It's on links on my page.
Yeah.
It's also on proofscholarships.org.
Oh, I also have that that I will be dropping too. So, yeah.
Right. So this is the book. It's my 4th one like it. I haven't wrote one in 10 years. There's a reason for that. We haven't talked about it. So let's swing back to this.
So we'll swing back. So so the general public, because before I met Sabrina, I really didn't know anything about, the system and how we could help and the moving process. When I asked Sabrina, is it true that when the kids are removed home, they get like 1 week of clothes, but what about all their toys? What about all their sentimental things? What happens to that? And then when you move, I don't know, overnight or in the morning, what do you put your belongings into? So Sabrina, if you just want to touch on that, I thought this was just kind of mind-blowing.
Okay, well, I'm sure that there are other people who might have different experiences, but for me, my foster brothers and other people that I knew in the foster care system, we all got a trash bag that our clothes went, and we put our clothes into. A week's worth of clothes, maybe 2, depending on how long you wear your clothes. But basically, you got about 5 jeans, 5 tops, 5 socks, 5 underwear. Head on out the door. You got a toy. I got to choose one toy. No matter how many toys I had, even if I had used my allowance and bought the other toys, I got one toy to move because they don't want you carrying a whole bunch of stuff with you.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I couldn't imagine. So like I remember telling you that when I would go over to my grandparents' house, I had this, hey mom, you're gonna find out. So I had this one stuffed animal that had all of that had all of the stuffing taken out, and I was able to shove 5 of my favorite stuffed animals inside of that one stuffed animal. So when mom said bring one toy, so I couldn't imagine what that would be like to literally only have one toy.
Yeah, so imagine that feeling that you had at that moment where you could just bring one and you're deciding, okay, well, which one? In the back of your mind, you know you're coming home to the rest of your toy. But imagine being that kid and saying you're bringing one to grandma's and that's the only one you're going to be able to keep from now on. And then having to choose which your favorite toy.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of puts a different understanding, like for you to understand it a little better. Like you can imagine yourself thinking, which toy do I want to bring? Now picture yourself in that same situation, but being told that's the only toy you get to play with now. We're going to move you to a new home. When you go to grandma's, you're not coming back here.
Oh my god, that would be a lot. And then you said that you also had to travel with trash bags.
Yeah, you're a foster kid. It's not like they're giving you luggage.
Which brings me to another, right, yep.
I was going to say, so unless you happen to have, there are good foster parents. Don't get me wrong. There are good, just like in life, there's good parents and bad parents everywhere. But it's not their obligation to provide more for the child than their basic care of food, shelter, education, So oftentimes that's what you get is the very, very minimum. I mean, I was even in one foster home where I was getting fed soup in the basement where they had full meals upstairs and laughed about it. One day I got fed up and I called my social worker and I said, listen! And I took my phone and, the big one with the little cord that's like 25 feet long back in the day, and I held it up and she heard them, and then I got removed from that home. But yeah, usually you get a trash bag. You don't get luggage. That's usually not, that's a luxury, not a necessity. Goodness, I couldn't say it. A a necessity. So you're just getting, now it doesn't have to be a trash bag. It could just be a paper bag from the store. So sometimes it's just a paper bag. Basically, it's just something to throw your clothes in quick, get you out the door.
Okay. But then we were talking, okay, so if anybody, as they are going through their luggage, spring cleaning is great, fall cleaning is great. I have so many bags and so many totes. If I come home with one more, I know my husband isn't going to be very happy. I know that. I collect them on accident. But if you're like me and you have a collection and you're like, okay, what should I do with these? There are places. I Googled and I came up with a whole list last night. Of course, that list is all the way downstairs and the kids are finally down there and happy. So I'm not going to go race down there and go get it. But Google was amazing. You can actually Google near you women's shelters, homeless shelters, foster care system, and Google, as we all know, is fantastic at coming up on the map, showing you where they are. It was totally helpful. I was able to find 5 within. So if you guys have anything, when I clean out my closets, I also donate again to all 3 of them. So really great resources. Christmas time is coming up. We all know about Toys for Tots, but Sabrina, is there anything else you think of where people could help to donate besides just Toys for Tots? And then what is something, I know that when they get moved from home to home, they only get one toy, but what is something that like a child might long? I know there's always like the coolest in the hot, but like what's like something that like never...
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, there's only one thing every foster child wants, and that is to go back home to their family. It doesn't matter how hard it was, it doesn't matter how abusive it was, mom is mom is mom is mom. That is all they want, even more so than the toys. If you sat there and told them for Christmas you get to be home with your family, there's only maybe a handful of kids that might not want that. But no matter what I grew up with, I still wanted to go home. And until I was 16, I didn't understand I was never going home. That was never happening. That's what they want for Christmas. That's what they want for their birthday. They don't want things and toys and the latest computer and the latest phone. It's nice when they get those, but what they want is that family connection. They want something to make them, they want their foster family to take them on the hayride with them and not leave them at some babysitter, They want to be part of the family that's actually watching them and not be the kid that's the piece of furniture we got off the corner at the, corner down the road, but it doesn't match any of the other furniture.
Right.
They don't want to be treated like that. That's what they actually want. But as for toys and stuff, yeah, they'll take the latest new little thing that's coming out there, but it will never be what they actually wanted. They want to feel special. They want to feel like they're not just getting pushed around. They want to be heard. They want someone to tell them and explain to them why they keep getting moved and what's going on to them. Those are the things they actually want.
Okay.
They want hugs. They want hugs. If you see one, hug them, Give them a hug.
Okay.
So, tell them that they're special. Tell them that there's something unique about them, and we might not know what it is yet, but we know you're growing into it.
Right.
Give them something to look forward to. Say something, anything that will give them their hope. Help one person each day, as Jen would say.
I love that.
Give them their hope. Yeah, help one person each day. That's Jen from Super Connector. She says that.
Yes, they were both. Okay, so then that totally leads into what you did. So you, as you were growing up, you knew that you had a passion within you to go ahead and help foster, and you just had no idea what that was or what the future was. You had a glimpse, you had maybe a little vision of help them in some, and that was all the way back in your childhood. I remember you telling. So how did that thought spark, and then what were you able to do with it later on in life? And what are we doing now, and why are we here?
So at 19, I realized that I had been out of the system. I had been sent back to the guy that I knew as my dad. Let's just leave it as that. But that's another story. And I got raped by him, left that place, and made myself homeless because I wasn't going to live in that. And I was in a mindset where when something bad happens, like you've been raped, I was raped inside foster care, you get moved. Well, I moved and I called my social worker and she said, you're not in foster care anymore. We can't do anything to help you. Sorry, you're over the age of 18. You are now 19. You've been out for a year. And it's not our fault that it didn't work out, and good luck. So then I'm like, how many other people are going through this? Like now I'm just homeless. And the only other option I have is to go back to the home of a guy who just sexually abused me. That wasn't happening. If I was told that if I shut up about it and didn't tell anybody that I would have my college paid for, a car given to me, I was going to be given money, and I walked away from all of it because there was no way I was living in a home where that was a steady practice. So that was the first time I was home. And then I realized at that time I needed to do this. But I also knew that I didn't have the knowledge on what to do, how to do it. Nobody was going to teach me. I had to find out all the answers, and I had nobody to turn to for help because I got, half the family didn't believe that I was abused. The other half was upset. Oh, you just get out of foster care. You're just trying to cause problems. Even though they all knew that this guy had a long history of abuse, I didn't know about it until then. So that's how that was until it was too late. So I spent from 19 to about 29 learning different jobs, taking jobs, normal jobs where I could learn how to use the computer system, how to use the POS system for running. I worked at a computer chain. I won't say their name. And but I had worked my way up from a salesperson to learning how to merchandise, how to put things onto the storefront, to up into the cashier, and how to actually be the lead where I was doing the reports, learning how to do reports. So I basically intentionally took job in my 20s so I could educate myself on how to have the knowledge on how to run a company, because I couldn't afford college, but I could take a job and get paid to learn that same knowledge.
I love it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes. So you had a vision, you knew what you wanted, knew that you wanted to start a company to help the system or help children in the system. You went ahead and you got scrappy about it, and you learned everything you could while being paid. I think that's awesome and brilliant. So how did you come about with the idea of 100 Facebook friends? So back to your book.
Okay, well,
how did that spark your idea? How did that happen? Did I jump a chapter?
Yeah, I think you jumped a chapter ahead. I think I needed to finish about what I was saying on that. Jump back to the last comment. What were we just saying? Moved my brain on
how you were gaining knowledge on how to run a company while you were learning.
Okay, so I did that. Okay, and then when I was in my 30s, I started writing books because in my philosophy, I knew how to write a book. I had a lot of teachers tell me that I should be an author. I decided, why not give it a try? I had no idea what to write a book about. My first one was actually called Happy Birthday, Sylvia. It was given to Sylvia Brown for her birthday. And when I got done making the book of all these people that turned in their stories of dreams that they had for the chapter under dreams that they had with Sylvia, or memories they had with Sylvia, or moments they had with Sylvia, I realized that's all it is to making a. I can do that. I can make a book. That's all there is. I mean, I started out making it as a birthday gift. So I gave her birthday gift, and then I decided, well, I could write a book and I could put it together. And I know I have the knowledge on what to do to get it up online. But what am I going to write about? And at that particular moment in time, I knew that I needed to write something that was sellable, because anybody who wants to succeed in life, you have to create something that can be sold to the mass media at large. It doesn't matter if it's a new toy, a food, a new shirt, a new something, but it's something that can be repeat sale. That's how you make it. That's what you do. So I needed to come up with a book that meant something to my heart. And when I wrote my first book, which was Worthy, I was going through a different hard time in my life where I didn't think I was going to make my goal. Let's just put it that way. And I thought I was going to commit suicide after I wrote this book. But ironically, God is there, and He finds a way to turn hardships into blessings. And I started selling my book, and people wanted to buy them. And these were literally my last words to the world.
But then they weren't. You're okay.
But they weren't. Just give me a moment.
You're good.
So I had gone through enough in life, and I was pretty much done, and I hadn't accomplished my goals. I figured my ex-boyfriend was correct, that nobody was ever going to help me. I wasn't wealthy enough. Yada, yada, yada. All the little negative things that people say to just drag you down and drag your dreams. But Sylvia Brown got a hold of that book, and we actually had a little kind of friendship. I had given her 5 gifts. She wrote me a thank you letter for each one. I got invited to her lecture. It was pretty cool. The only thing I didn't get was a picture of her, and I still kick myself in the butt about that. But that's fine. I mean, I did have a picture of her, but not us together. So that's fine. But after that, she told me that it would take me 19 years to accomplish my goal. And I had already been working on them for 19 years. I was 36, and I was like, you gotta be 19 years. are you sure? Because I was already working on it on 19 years. Are you sure that's not like the 19 I already worked? Please tell me it's the 19 I already put in and I don't have 19 more years. But nevertheless, I had put in those goals. Well, I started writing my other books and things were going well, and I had a reprieve from life and hardships and stalkers and murderers and all these bad people just trying to stop me from rising up. And so I had wrote The Invisible, which was the second one, and that was what's invisible, what's visible on the inside that you have to look for. And they're all about 100 people, and they get a page and a picture, basically. Some have a little more, some have a little less, but in the last one, it's just and this one, you can tell that I am now coming out and trying to, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to walk this path. It's 19 more years, God, but if you want me to walk a path for 19 more years, I know you're with me, I know you'll get me through it. Let's do this. So then I was in a much better frame of mind and wrote my third one, Brightest Blessings, Try to Be a Rainbow in Somebody's Cloud. And you can see that I'm getting better and moving up until I closed down my massage office, took a nanny job so I could focus on my book, and the girl freaked out one night and tried to murder her stepbrother and I. The stuff is still on Facebook. You can go look up December 11, 2010, I believe it was. It's still, we put the photos up because we really thought that she was going to finish us, that we would fall asleep, she would wake up, and we'd be dead and nobody would know what happened. So I called out for angels. Listen, I will call out for angels. I don't care what people say. They're there. They've helped me. You might not see them, but somehow weird things happen. People get distracted. They get scared. I don't know, but I know that they've saved my butt so many times. And that night was no different. The only reason why we're even alive is because of whatever happened after I prayed, because all of a sudden Kelly stopped and she was back. She had left me for dead on the floor.
It's okay.
It went to go finish her brother. So I left that place. That was another time I was homeless, because I was not staying in a place as a nanny or a friend or anything to a girl who just tried to end my life. No. It took me 9 days before I could walk, before I could leave the house. So it was 9 days of terror, wondering what's going to happen. Is she going to finish it? The police were aware, and they waited for me to get out of town. And I called one of my friends, detective, and said, I'm gone. I'm in your town now. And then they went in and dealt with the girl and the house and the situation that was there. And they had pictures, so they knew what was going on. But they waited until I was out of the house before they went further. Because like I said, I couldn't even walk. I couldn't lift up my computer monitor. I tried to move my computer into the car. I couldn't do it. I was beat so bad that the doctor had said that if she would have jumped on my back one or two more times, then instead of having everything fractured, it would have all broke. My lungs and heart and everything would have been punctured. They wouldn't have done it. It would have been like my ribs in a mill. So I leave.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God, that didn't work out. Because this human made a free will choice. Not because the dad who offered me the job didn't offer me a safe environment, but because he had no way of knowing that his daughter was going to freak out one. And she never displayed characteristics beforehand to come forward that would show that this was going to come out of her. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't preemptive warning signs that she had violent tendencies. She freaked out one. It all comes down to that. She lost, and she could have lost 2 people's lives. She could have gone to prison for attempted murder on 2 different people. But because she was 16, we both forgave her. He left, I left. We went our separate ways. Ironically, she is in this book. We are a friend. That is the power of forgiveness. That's the difference between somebody who understands what forgiveness really is, and that they take the time to understand, why did you do the stupid human thing that you did?
Right.
Like if there's, and she didn't know, flipped out. She just flipped out. But like I said, we're friends. She's in the book. Her name's Kelly. You'll read about her. Buy the book and read about her.
I love it.
But so then after I left her, I went to try to go back to my birth sister. She had my mom and my brother living with her at the time, and that was just a little bit too much, too many people in that little space of what she had. So I was doing radio shows, helping people get their step up. That was one of the things I started with my book. I realized how hard it was for me to get it out there, so I started a radio show called Get Your SOS on the Sabrina Oxford Show, and people would come on to that show and do their product or their service or whatever and get the encouragement to go on their local radio. Oh, well, if I can do this, I can go on my local radio show. So I did that for about 7 years, and when I left Kelly's place after she tried, after that whole scenario, that's how I have to do it to be able to move forward without crying. I'm sorry. But I ended up being in a tent in the woods, doing my radio show on the phone while my friend Solana, or Sherry, but most people know her as Solana, was doing the chat room down in Texas. Anita Water was doing the chat room down in Texas so I could still do my radio show. Well, that wasn't really working out, living out in the woods. And I hitchhiked, and I did kind of hitchhike part of the way. My brother put me on a bus with my suitcase, my laptop, and the clothes on my back. I'll wait.
You're okay.
That's okay. So I get on the bus, the suitcase, the laptop, the clothes on my back, make my way to what I think is a job. So I get a bus from here to Lake Mitchell. Another friend got me some of the other way, and then I end up another way. So I eventually make my way to a job in another state, somewhere in Nebraska. And this was going to be a job where I could just stay, help at a hotel, cleaning, doing the front desk, phones, or whatever. That was supposed to be what it was about. Well, my books took off, and I knew that when I got the money from the books that I was going to use that to help send Foss to college. I just wasn't exactly yet even how. And that was a job for 2 weeks. Then my phone after I told everybody I have a job, I'm safe, everything's fine, you don't need to worry about me, I'm good to go. Well, then my phone gets taken from me. My job turns into a held captive scenario. I realized 2 other girls are in the same situation, in the same building. I eventually get out through a Crime Stoppers report, so I'm still trying to deal with that, and I dealt with it mostly, but this is what I can say about it. If you're listening and you end up in a situation where you are held captive, there is one way of getting out of it, and that is to make friends with them. No matter how awkward or uncomfortable, you have to be okay. If you are scared, they get off on it. If you beg for your life or beg for them to stop, that turns them on, and they'll continue. If they're sexually abusing you, sexually abuse you more. If whatever the abuse is that you're doing, they will elongate it if they feel it's causing you pain and stuff. If you are cool about it, which means you have to kick into survivor mode, and I'm not saying be cool about it, but I'm saying you have to not care. If they're just going to rape you, then just lay there. Don't fight back. Don't yell. Don't scream. Understand that this is going to go off, and if you are going to say anything, the only thing that should come out of your mouth is, God, they are raping your kid. Just to let you know, this person on top of me, and keep saying that because that God energy really freaks them out. Now, I got abused every day in some size, shape, or form except my birthday. One day I got off. I don't know why. I got food, a birthday cupcake. Not a cake, I got cupcake. But I got treated really nice that day. So apparently, whatever was with that person, birthdays were special, and so therefore I got a special day. I don't know. But I had made enough friends with him to get to be able to play solitaire play card games on the computer while I was being observed and watched, just so I had something to do. Except for he left the room one day and went to the bathroom, and I had seconds to make a decision, realizing I was connected to the internet, and this was my only chance of reaching out to somebody. So I got on Crime Stoppers and said, check out the girl in room 27, she's being abused. That's really all I had time to sit there and type up and send out. Press send, close the page, and boom. This is another hard story, so hang on. So he comes back from the bathroom. I heard him flush the toilet. So he comes back from the bathroom, and I had just shut the page down and had the solitaire page up and started playing it. Well, I don't know if he went back into history, how he found out, but by 7 o'clock, 7:30, somewhere in the morning, the next morning, I could hear him through the wall talking to the next people about how they dumped me in the next next state over, that there was a Crime Stoppers report that was turned in, that we need to get her out of here before the police come to do the investigation. And I'm hearing all this through the one wall. So I don't remember if it was that night or the next day. I think it was the next morning. I think that was like my last night there. And then the next morning, well, then I wake up and I'm in a van and battered up, and they think I'm left for dead, and all they have to do is dump this body a couple states over so it's not connected to where they are located. So I come to. That threw the lady off. There was two of them. The guy was driving and he was like in auto zone. You know what I'm talking about? Like just not hearing anything, no matter what. She's trying to talk to him. She's awake. She's alive. What are we gonna do? She's awake, you know, like, and shaking his arm, and he's just driving like he's not even there. Like he can't hear anybody. And so eventually I convinced them. I mean, we start talking and I'm like, listen, I am alive right now, and if you drop me off somewhere where I can, you know somebody, like let me use your phone, let me call somebody I know, let me get a hold of somebody, and you can drop me off there. Why bring me all the way to Minnesota? That's a lot of gas, that's a lot of time, save the money, go to the casino. I mean, no offense, but I did say that.
Right.
And they're like, casino. And all of a sudden, boom, like that became more important to them at that moment than what are we going to do with this girl? I said, this guy is just going to report this vehicle stolen. You'll get blamed for murdering me because you're in the vehicle. You know, they'll blame you if you sit there and follow through with this. You know, I had to use logic against them. Like, think this out. Right now I'm alive. I could have been a hitchhiker. You could have just picked me up. I have no idea who she is. Let me off. So finally she let me use her phone. I got a hold of, the only person I get a hold of was one friend I knew in Yankton, South Dakota. They dumped me in this town, just dropped me here, and that was it. She came home from work, let me inside, said I have to go back to work. I'm really sorry, but you know that you're going through this, but I gotta leave you. The kids will be home. I hope you don't mind watching them for a couple hours. I'm gonna be late. So I just get over this horrible thing, and my friend's like, yes, a live-in babysitter.
Oh my.
Which is what I immediately became. I hadn't had a moment to recuperate from that. So when it came time to writing this book, I had to do something to pull myself out of the hurt, because as you can tell, I still have moments of crying when I talk, still break down. It's a lot of hardship to go through, and I wouldn't have gotten through it if I didn't have it. I wouldn't have gone through it if I didn't call out to angels. I don't care what people say about other people who do that. Like if they want to say they don't believe in angels, I don't know what to tell those people, because I've been around them. I've experienced them. I experienced them stop a rape in the middle of it. One time he was raping me and I did call out saying, God, he's trying to rape your daughter, and it stopped right there. Somebody knocked on the door, and it happened to be one of the other girls, and she got out of her room and came looking for him, and so he could put her back in the room. Because what people don't understand is it's like Stockholm syndrome.
Okay.
You start caring for for the person. And the guy was one personality during the daytime, and at night he was a different personality. It was like good Dennis and evil. And you could hang around good Dennis, but you couldn't hang around evil Dennis, because evil Dennis would rape, beat, hurt you, try to force himself upon you, or drug you so he could force himself upon you. So the way you get through stuff like is you have to think of positive things. You have to think of the 23 hours you're not being abused, and not focus on the hour you are. And I did it by focusing on 100 really wonderful people. That's how I did it, and that's how I'm still doing it. And these people all have lessons that we can learn from to help us be the best person we can be. Knowledge in there that oh look, here's Jen. Hey Jen.
Oh yeah.
She's getting so plugged tonight. She better be feeling the love. Her ear better be burning.
It should, because yes, I think that we have brought her up about 5 to 7 times now, so that's great.
Yeah, and not even intentionally, so that was good.
Yeah, so no, we're not getting paid to drop her name, promise.
Right, please no, we're not being paid in any capacity. But I have a lot of respect for her, because she has, she's rising up and doing what she can do to rise up and overcome whatever she has to overcome to rise up, and I appreciate and respect that. Now, I thought I would try to write a book a few years ago, but I wasn't ready. You got to be ready. You got to start before you're ready, but you got to at least be ready to start.
Yeah.
And I was at a point where I was crying every day. I was not ready to start to move forward. I was still trying to deal with what I had gone through for many years. So so then you gotta just think of something positive. And I know that sounds maybe cliche or easy or whatever. It's not easy. It's hard to be a good person. It's hard to make the right choice. It's hard to stay faithful to God when somebody's holding you captive, or when you're being beaten and hiding under floor, or when somebody's telling you can't do this or that, because in reality it's something they don't want, so they try to keep you down so that you're not rising up higher. I have friends that are here in life, I have friends that are here in life, and none of them treat me as if I'm above or below, or they're above or below me, because we are all equal. We're all trying to just make it on this planet, and I'm praying we all make it the best we can.
Right.
So I wrote this book. The plan is to sell every 10,000 copies that I sell, I can send one foster kid to college. I started People's Reach Out on foster care. Someone is asking in the chat, so how do you choose which child you will help to go to college? That's a very good question. Well, we have a website called proofscholarships.org. Can you type that in there for me?
Yep.
Scholarships has an S at the end of it.
Yep.
And then so that allows them a location where they can apply. But basically what I do for what we're doing for now for Christmas with these particular book sales to help support is we contact the state of Minnesota. So maybe I'll have to have Amber as my board member so that she can help do my Minnesota thing, being that I'm not there now, I'm over here. But we contact the foster care department through social services, let them know that we have a scholarship available for a student that qualifies, and then they contact the seniors and ask who is in need of it. So once I have the money to give them, it takes about 2 weeks for them to give me back the person, and they tell me who it is for right now. Now, come 2023, and the more we get known, and the more the easier it is for those that are in the foster care system to find us, then they'll just start turning in their applications, and we'll pick out the application of which one we feel can make it through with the grades that they have, with the education that they are want. I mean, if someone says, I want to go to school to be a doctor, pay for it, and your grades are D and D plus, then okay, you know what, that's not happening. I'm not investing in that. I will invest in your future if you want to have get your grades up, and hopefully we can get wide enough and expand wide enough where those that are in the foster care system can say, hey, there's a place for us to go to when we get out of here. It's not, and we can always go back there, even for Thanksgiving and Christmas and holidays, birthdays. We will always be welcome there once we go through their system. They'll make sure that there's a bed for us, and they'll get invited for holidays, because that is one of the harder things for those who emancipate out of the system, which is approximately 20,000 people emancipate out without having really a place to go, which is a lot. It may not seem like a lot in the grand scheme of the world at large, but that 20,000 people feeling like they're hopeless with nowhere to go, no college, no family to turn to, they're on the streets, or maybe they do have family, but it's the family that abused them, and they don't know them, and there's no bonds with them because they didn't grow up with them. So this will give them hope. Maybe it'll lower the suicide rates. They will be like, I can have a college, I can have a place to go, I can have 3 meals, I'll be taken care of until I can finish learning how. It takes them longer. The statistics say that within 3 years of somebody leaving the foster care system and being emancipated out, I'm not talking about ones that are adopted or went back to their family, but the ones that emancipated out, within 3 years, that their average income is $7,500 a year, and that they've been homeless at least one of those. Wow. And those are just who they can find. So I want to increase their chances of having a future, a college, give them something I didn't have. Support, knowledge. There's somebody to answer their questions. What do I do if I want to do this? Okay, well, there'll be somebody there that can answer that question. If you go to People's Reach Out on foster care, that's what PROOF stands for, People's Reach Out on foster care. If you go to proofscholarships.org, hardships.org. Under our future goals, it says that we want to like a school that was abandoned or some other building. Hopefully it's school because it already has a lunchroom and a library for bedrooms in the classroom, their bed. So we'll see where that actually ends up going versus building a build scratch, because we have a lot of abandoned buildings throughout the state. We might as well use. Right. So if there's something usable, we could convert that. If not, then we'll build. But hopefully,
I love how big your vision. I do, because this is the first step with the first book. I know that by Christmas time you want to sell your first 100,000 book, which is great, because for every 10,000 a child goes to college. And then I know that you're in the starting phases of that, and you're not close to your goal yet. But I'm not saying you can't reach it. I'm just saying that there's some work to be done. So yes, if anybody knows of anybody to share this, I am going to be breaking this down into segments. But anybody wants to share this information about what she's doing, how to help the foster children, how to help people go to college, what her grand vision is. I mean, I think it's beautiful. Thank you, Lenore. I also like your big. So yes, you have the start of something, and I'm passionate it. You're educated. You've always been a go-getter. I really see that you'll be able to accomplish and take this to level. Your vision huge.
Yeah, I have a huge vision, and huge visions take time. It's not like growing a tree. You know, when Sylvia Brown told me 19 more years, I didn't understand. But the truth is, if I didn't go through those experiences, if I didn't go through those traumas, I probably wouldn't have gone to see her after my birth dad had died, or the guy I thought was my birth dad, or whatever he is.
Right.
I wouldn't have gone to see her. I wouldn't have made the birthday present for her. I wouldn't have been so bummed out about my life that I wrote the first book, and then have a different experience of I let it all out, and I can now move forward because now I put it down on paper, kind of thing.
I love it.
And then if I wouldn't have gone through that last scenario, I wouldn't have gone through counseling. I wouldn't have gone to the point where I realized, I still have to finish my goal no matter where I'm at. I did start People's Reach Out in Foster Care 2018 through 19, and then just as we were starting our charity dinner, COVID-19 shut us.
Wow. Yeah.
So I haven't given up. I'm never giving up. This is still a goal. All we need is 100,000 people, and there's billions of people on this planet.
Oh, I was going to ask you. Okay,
look at this.
How much is a book, and then how much of it goes to your profit? Not your profit.
Okay, so the book is $19.99.
Okay.
So basically $20. It's the cost of a pizza. Basically, you can buy the book if you don't like to read. Give it away for a Christmas present. It is a good read. Everybody knows somebody who likes to read. It costs basically the price of a pizza. If you can have a pizza, you can certainly help send somebody to college, right? So I love my book because it's my book. So I'm going to be about that. But I think people would really like it. I think they'd be pleasantly surprised with how much that they would like the book and go ahead and purchase it. So I give half my profits to People's Reach Out in Foster Care, which is what Proof Scholarship stands for, PROOF. I give half my profits to that. Just in case anybody else wants to know, 10% goes to my church, and I live off 40%, minus the tax.
Right.
So if you want to know where it all goes, where it all goes is 10% goes to my church, 50% goes to proofscholarships.org to send foster kids to college, and I think about 20% goes to taxes, another 20% I actually get to keep. Fortunately, I just don't care for things. As you can see, I really don't have a lot of jewelry. Every once in a while I'll wear jewelry on a show where I know somebody is really into that jewelry look, but I'm really not. I'm just simple. I have a very simple heart. I don't need anything but people to just care and just do the best that they can and rise up, and that's what I did with these people. All these people are people that are using their life to make the world a better place in some size, shape, or form. They're following their goals, they're following their dreams, and maybe if you read the book, you might find a dream in you didn't even know you had, and then have a dream to follow. So if you're sitting there wondering, I don't even know what I want to do with my life. You know what? Even I, who knew what I wanted to do with my life, has taken me all these years to get to the point where I can accomplish what I want to do in life. If you're growing celery or a carrot, you can probably do that in a short period of time. But if you want to grow an oak tree that's going to be solid, you better start now. And what I want to do with foster care, I need that to be an oak tree. And easy come, easy go. So I needed to put in a lot more work and effort than what maybe somebody else would do to accomplish their own goal, just simply to make sure that it's standing and survivable. Because here's another thing I forgot to tell you. Here's another interesting thing about proof scholarships is that we don't just send somebody in the foster care to college. If they couldn't make it because of all the complications and side effects that some people have from going through the foster care system, their first offspring, their first generational offspring, we will pay for their college. So let's say, Amber, you were in foster care. We would pay for your child to go to college. They could apply for the scholarship program. Because a lot of people in the foster care system don't, when I first got out, it was 2% went on to post-secondary education. Now I think it's up to 13%. They just don't go. They don't have the confidence, don't get there. But we decided to extend it to their children, to give their children a chance in case their parents couldn't make it. Somebody has to stop the cycle. And this was my way of saying it stopped. If you didn't make it through being removed from your abusive home and put into this system that was supposed to help you, and I know how messed up it is, but at least they do try to help, but you didn't make it and you're out on your own and you're still not making it, let's make sure your child has a chance. So we extended it to them.
I love that. I really do. I love how big the mission is. I love how big your vision is. I love everything about it. So with that, does anybody have any questions? Lenore, I saw your question come through about her link. Because this one got so lengthy, I am actually going to put a clean post in the group and everywhere else with all of her links, so you can buy the book, you can buy a hard copy on Amazon. Zoo was another one, but Amazon is the
Lulu, right? Lulu, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Amazon, everybody knows, but it actually helps more foster kids if you get it on Lulu. The reason being is I get a higher percent on Lulu, and Barnes & Noble takes me 4 times as many books because they take out a higher percent. It takes me 4 times as many books to send the same foster kid to college. Amazon, it'd take me about 40,000 books through Barnes & Noble to send the same foster kid to college as it does for 10,000 on Lulu or 15 on Amazon.
Okay.
So we would prefer Amazon or Lulu. If they go to my site, proofscholarships.org, there's a picture of the book side by side, like 2 pictures of the book.
Okay.
And if you click on that picture, it'll bring you right to it so you can buy it.
Okay, perfect. So sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm ready to be on too. We've been talking a long time.
We have been. This is my longest live, by the way. But yes, is there anybody else that has other questions? Otherwise, we can go ahead and call this a night. But I'll leave it open just for a minute. If anybody found any information, awesome, or you liked anything on the content, if you could just say a comment like I enjoyed it, best of luck, anything. You don't have to say what part you liked, but if you just want to I was here, it was great, or something, and that would be great. It helps boost views the more comments that we have, and then obviously shares are great. If you liked anything, share it. I think that's about it, because I'm not seeing any questions roll.
Let me check.
Okay.
Oh, I wrote sweet.
I did. Okay, well, thank you, Sabrina, so much for being here. It was great. Thank you, Lenore. Yes, thank you so
Lenore.
much. Definitely eye-opener. So yes, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and sign out. So where I am Amber McCarty with Meticulous Engagement, where it's my business. Oh, it's back. But where it's my business, know your business, so I can share your business with the world, and we can help everybody a little bit every day. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and sign out now. Bye.
Stay blessed.
Yes.